Hi, Tiffany Young with IdeateTV, and I'm here with Bob Layton.
Every day, whether
Yeah.
I like it or not, yes.
He's so popular. So you are known for Iron Man, and you've been in the business a long time. You're an artist, writer, editor. What
I
got
did
you
everything but
started?
put the staples in the books.
Right. What got you? What did you start as? Were you an artist or?
No, I learned to read from comics at a preschool age, and that kind of always put the hook into me that I realized the power of this as a learning tool as well as as an art form. So I grew up kind of poor, so I knew I wouldn't really be able to go to college or whatever. So I started applying myself so I could become an artist, as the first step to becoming an overall storyteller. So that was kind of the impetus for all that. So when I was old enough, barely 19, I took on an apprenticeship, with an established artist, and I spent 4 years working as an apprentice, and then finally got work in comics on my own. Back then, that's how we did it. You worked for a master, like in Michelangelo's time,
Right.
It's like I was a sous chef.
So you worked under someone that was already in the comics business?
Yes. Well, two actually. I had two of the biggest names. Wally Wood was my first mentor, and most of the people watching this thing will know who Wally Wood is. And then from there, I went on to work with Dick Giordano, who ran Continuity Associates out in New York, who eventually became the managing editor of DC Comics for 25, 26 years. So both of them giants in the industry. So I had the advantage of learning not only art from Woody, but I also learned the business side of the industry from Dick. So I had two teachers that were both highly advantageous to me in terms of forming my career, my later career.
So you wouldn't be a starving artist?
Well, no, but the thing was, they always taught me that the guy who learned everything about the business is the guy that always worked.
That's so true.
Because, and actors who are watching this, pay attention. Because if you aspire to be an actor, that's all fine and good, but the people who keep working are the ones that are smart enough to realize that their whole life's not going to be in front of the camera. And there's a lot of really intelligent actors always form production companies, and they learn about, they start to direct, they start to learn all aspects of the business because they know they're not going to be pretty forever, they're not going to be popular forever.
Right.
I mean, I was the most super popular artist in the business at one time, but I knew that wasn't going to last, because Dickie had been the most super popular guy in the business at one time, and that didn't last, and it never does.
Yeah.
The thing is, though, but if you are serious about your craft, you want to learn every aspect. So I learned the business side of it too.
Yeah.
When I worked at Marvel, I used to go up to the 11th floor where accounting was, and I talked to the accountants, and I asked them questions about what was the P&Ls on how comics are made, what the profit margins are. It's like I said, I wanted to know this kind of stuff, which served me great later when I actually formed my own comic book company.
Yeah.
So that's why having a good mentorship is important. So whether you're anybody in the arts, in entertainment, whether you're an actor or whether you're a cartoonist or a writer, learn the business that you're in.
Definitely. Yeah. Are you mentoring anybody now?
Through my career, I've mentored over 45 people. You just missed one of them, who was here, Bernard Chang, who you'll meet him over there. He's got a table. But I found him at the ripe age of 20 years old at the San Diego Comic-Con, and I brought him back to New York, and he's had a career in comics ever since. But, I mean, he's practically my son now. But through the years, we were always taught to pass on what we learn. And I've had over 45 assistants at the time. Well, Valiant was a learn-as-you-go studio. I mean, I would take these students from art school who, they weren't learning what they needed to learn.
Yeah.
I'd take them and I'd mentor them while they worked for me. I would hold art classes there and that kind of stuff. So they had a work-as-you-go program. And most of them are still working in the business today,
Wow.
So you always try to pass on what you learn, that's really important to give back, Pay it forward, as they say,
Pay it forward. So when you created the character Tony Stark, are there any characteristics that are similar to you personally?
You've met me. Come on, you've met me, right?
I mean,
It's
you
like-
were
No, I mean, now you got to remember, Stan created Tony Stark originally, but they weren't very popular characters. Iron Man and Tony Stark weren't terribly popular because one, Stan never actually wrote the book. He kind of came up with the idea and gave it to his brother to do. But it was one of those things that just nobody ever sat down and really thought it out. And even as a little kid, I didn't want to be Iron Man. I wanted to be Tony Stark. The idea of like having all the money, all the girls, all the toys, being the smartest guy in the room always. What guy doesn't want to be that, right? Come on, who doesn't want to be that? So to me, that was the emphasis. So when I got the book, I changed the whole emphasis of the thing to what you know now. But I also injected my personality into the character. Even Downey said on the set, he goes, you really are more like Tony Stark than I am. I said, that's right, because sarcasm is the milieu in which I thrive. Right. Yeah. Ask anybody who knows me, So, yeah, I put a lot of myself in the character. Don't we all? Oh. Yeah, whatever we do. It's like, I'm a smart ass. Okay. We've established that. All right?
So what are you doing right now?
You mean, besides talking to you, like, okay. I moved out of LA about a year ago, almost a year ago exactly, and moved to Tampa, Florida. There, because we were setting up a deal with venture capital and with the Florida Film Commissions, the various film commissions in the state of Florida, to try to create a stronger film presence in the state. Right now, you look at what's happening in Louisiana, you look what's happening in Atlanta, Georgia. There are a lot of great productions being done. Florida is a no state tax, right? It's sunny 89% of the time, until it goes underwater, I mean. But until then, it's a really great place where you can cheaply make films, but they have little or no real film industry there. So I had an offer through venture capitalists to come back there and try to establish a film presence there, using my notoriety from Iron Man, from the movies and from the comics and whatever, and my experience in Hollywood, to basically help them build a new image for Florida as a place to make film. I myself am working on finalizing a deal to put my own production company together so I can start making movies of my own creations. So, and with the help of the various film commissions. So if you liked my comic book work, you're going to have a good time once I start making movies, because they're going to be funny, they're going to be stupid, they're going to be exciting. All the stuff that I've given people for 4 generations or 4 decades, not generations. That would make me 90. Yeah, that would make me like 200 years old. For 4 decades, you're going to see more of the same, but on the screen.
Interesting. So when can we expect that?
I am working on it now, but the wheels of progress move slow, especially when you're trying to pry millions of dollars out of people's pockets. So bear with me, but believe me, as you guys know, I'm all over social media. So when the time comes when I'm going to need you guys to make some noise, I'll be telling you. So don't worry about that.
Okay.
But
where can we find you on social media?
I am on Instagram, I am on Twitter, I am on Facebook. You can go to my website, www.boblayton.com. Wow. And you can email me directly through there. It goes right to my phone right here. Mm-hmm. No problem. So I am really easy to find.
Wow. That's rare.
I got nothing to hide, Tiff.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for your time, and thank you for remembering my name. That made me feel so special.
Well,
you were the
tried
first
to make
person.
an effort.
This
Really?
is my first time at any kind of con, and you were the first person that I met.
Well, how about that?
Yeah.
Well, I hope it gets better for you.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you, Tiffany.
Tiffany
Thank
Young.
You guys. Thanks for watching.
Tiffany Young, IdeateTV.